All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar. It is being recorded, and I hope that you hear us well. If there's any technical problems, please write it in the chat, and we'll see how we can assist. We'll start with a little Swedish course. Welcome to our webinar is in Swedish. Välkommen till vårt webinar. The presenters today is me, Helen Ekefolk. I'm the marketing officer and team leader here at Örebro University. And
my name is Alexander. I'm a program coordinator, and I'm here representing faculty today.
And
I'm called Jean-Noel Oayezu, and I'm international master student here at Orebro University, and I'm doing a master's of chemistry in environmental forensic.
And you're representing all the students today.
Yeah. I'm representing students.
All right. Some information before we start. If you have questions, since we have shut you off when it comes to this sound, so that we avoid any echoes and stuff, please use the chat function if you have questions. And there will be time also for questions at the end if we miss answering your question meanwhile, you type it. And the link to this webinar will, the recorded webinar will be distributed after we're done for today. So what will we cover and what will we not cover in this webinar? We will cover some information about Örebro University, about what it is, how it is to study here, a few minutes about accommodation, then go over to student life and life in Örebro in Sweden, and what will happen next. What we won't cover is actually three things. And the first thing is notification of selection results. Then it's scholarships and program-specific information. We do have 3 slides about this on how you actually who you can ask if you have questions regarding these 3 things. So let me just run through them real quickly before we go into what we will cover. And the first thing is April 6th is a big date for all of us. We cross our fingers and hope that the ones that are listening now actually will be admitted, and you will find out April 6th. It's nothing that we can cover questions around in this webinar. So if you have questions, please use the freemover@oro.se email address. So that's about the admission process. When it comes to scholarships, any questions related to the Örebro University scholarships, we want you to use the student assistant at oro.se. And Frida Garwell, who's our international student assistant, will answer your question regarding these. The decision of who will actually have these scholarships will be taken first week of April. And regarding the scholarships from Swedish Institute, we refer you to the webpage at the Swedish Institute for any further information about the status of that. And the last thing is, if you have program-specific questions that we will not cover in this webinar, then there are 2 slides with the contact information to each of the program coordinators that can help you out with any questions related to the programs. And these will be, of course, these slides will be shared also in the recording so that you can get all the contact information later on. All right, let's go back to what we will cover in this webinar during the coming 15-20 minutes. And let's start with what is actually Örebro University? What do we stand for and what do we offer? Well, we have 12 international master's programs this year. And we are ranked by Times Higher Education as number 63 on the list of best young universities in the world. So we're quite proud of that. And we're also among the top 200 universities in Europe and among the top 400 universities in the world in this list. And so that's a little bit of what you can expect when it comes to the ranking. Örebro University is just outside the city center of Örebro, and if you follow my mouse here, the mouse, I'm pointing at the Örebro city center, and then you have a small bike ride to the main campus in Örebro, where all the programs are located except the medicine programs, because they are at another campus, which is up here closer to the city center. It might look like it's far, but it's actually not. The distance between the city center of Örebro and the main campus is around 10-minute bike ride. So it's not far at all. At the main campus, we also have a school of music, and a lot of the students, even if you're not a music student, appreciates that the offer that they actually have with concerts free of charge with the music students. And we also have a campus gym, which offers a wide range of classes so that you can keep fit during your student studies here at Örebro. All right, a little bit about how it is to study here, Alexander.
Yeah, so as a representative for faculty, I both teach, I coordinate courses, and I head one of the master's programs. Let me take some time to say that the students at our university, they usually take one course at a time. On occasion, there may be some overlap, but we usually try to focus the students on putting all their attention to one course and keeping with that without too much overlap. The courses generally are designed as a combination of different types of pedagogic interactions between teachers and students, such as lectures. I'm sure you're all very familiar with a traditional lecture. But we try to mix this up with seminars, with group works, both big groups and smaller groups, and also on some of the programs where it fits, lab works. That could be either a computer-based lab or, in my case, wet lab. You actually do experimentation in a lab, and then we try to bring elements from the lectures into the labs and then into a seminar and group work to really attack the courses and the topics from different angles to maximize the understanding. We usually tend to keep the classes pretty small, 10 to 20 students, and that is a conscious choice because we need to keep a close contact between the students and the teachers and the researchers during class, because we find that really benefits the discussion and the understanding. And having said that, we as teachers, we really welcome the discussions and critical thinking from a little bit another perspective that we may or may not have thought about. So the classes are usually quite conversation inspired, and I think that benefits both students and teachers. So we're not just all there to learn, we also need to have a little bit of fun, and everybody can learn, even teachers. The examinations, they are usually spread throughout the semester. So you have a few examinations over the course of the semester, and these are usually put at the end of each class. Remember, I just said that the courses are taken one at a time. So when a course finishes, there's usually an examination before you move on to the next course, so you can really focus on the topic of the specific courses. Student and teacher interactions, they are very informal in Sweden, in academia Sweden, and at this university. The students do not have to call the teachers by professor, so none of my teachers call me professor. They address me by my name, and there's of course a mutual respect because we all can learn from each other. And in Sweden, at this university, we have a possibility of PhD education. We also have PhD students, and this can be taken in English because we're a very international university.
Thank you, Alex.
Okay, thank you.
A few lines about the accommodation, because many of you might wonder, okay, how will I find somewhere to stay? And for the master students that doesn't have a Swedish personal identity number, which is probably the most of you, the housing office can support you to find housing. And directly after, if you have been accepted at April 6th, we recommend you to go online and fill in the form that will go to housing, so that before May 15th, they need your application on if you need help with housing. And what kind of housing can you expect? Well, normally it's a corridor style living where you have your own bedroom, your own private bedroom, but you share a kitchen and living room. This is just a little glimpse of how it actually can look. And then, Jean-Noel, how is it to be a student here at Örebro University?
Yeah, well, I'm a student, of course, and that's why I'm going to talk about the student life at Orebro University. As you were saying, the university has a campus, the main campus here at Orebro. It has different buildings. They are called in the Swedish huset, and they are located according to the faculty, the schools, and each buildings or huset, as I was saying, it has all necessary for students. So you have different classrooms, you have rooms. So means that after class we have specific rooms so you can take your own work or individual work. You can also go outside just if you want to relax out doing still your work in a group or individual. Of course, it might depend also the season. Otherwise, we can't go outside in the winter. It's a catastrophe. It might depend on the time. You also belong as a student here at Orebro. It's better, or you belong in like a student union. You as a student, you have like you get a card, and that card it's better because it helps you to get some discount, like train discounts. You can also go shop some things here within the campus and even outside. So it is very important. As you can see, I'm biking on the slide. So it means everyone here enjoy bikes. I don't know why, but maybe because maybe it's easy to bike since they are different. The difference between the bikes way and the car roads. So even those who have a car, they enjoy biking. I don't know if it is maybe to reduce the amount of money, but it's very familiar environment for biking. Well, yeah, it's a familiar atmosphere because the friendship is easy just to make with other. So with different students, with teachers, with even the staff at the university, you can make friends easily. It doesn't matter if you are students, if you are a teacher, if you are a principal. It's easy to make a friend here at the Orebro University. Well, this is a very interesting slide as it is concerning money. As she was talking about accommodation, you can see that maybe the second line is that the students' housing it can consume all your money, but it also might depend on the way you want to spend your life because there are different accommodations and the price might be different. Only this is the average. And of course, you can see that the food, it is also, you can think that it is expensive, but it also depends because this might be the Swedish food, because you can also find the African food, the Indian food, Italian food, and the price for all they are different. So meaning that this is not a problem for the students. And for example, for the cost materials for 800 Swedish krona, yeah, you might maybe use all that money if you have to buy a book, and you don't need to buy always a book because here there is a library. You can go there and borrow a book. So this is not totally the money that you have to spend here for surviving. So here at Orebro University, there is a program. Since you arrive here like 1 week, or you get the program like 3 weeks before you come here. So in this program, basically you meet with different international students, and within this program, they show you different things occurring here at university. They are introduce you like in the Swedish community. They are show you some different academic or social areas. So they show you, like I was saying, different faculty rooms, the class, the library, and so on. You also participate in different activities such as the campus tours. You can also go to the movie night. You can go, there is a kind of entertainment. So you participate in different activities as you can also move around the Orebro city.
Yeah. Okay, before we go into life at Örebro in Sweden, we do have a question in the chat, and it says, is there any possibility that students meet a lecture after normal teaching for discussion? I think, well, I actually want to hear both of you because you're in different faculties, and let's start with you, Alex. What is your...
My answer to this is absolutely, and we encourage students to do this. And usually the way it works, of course, us teachers can be a bit busy sometimes, but usually the students come around our office. They don't have to make a formal ask to meet. They come if we have time at that moment. We take it right away. And if we don't have time, we schedule for another time. And we usually have, after the specific lecture or teaching interaction, students usually come forward and we have discussions. So there's a lot of informal discussions. Absolutely.
What is your experience?
And for all teachers, for the first lecturer, they have to give you like all the address, the telephone number, the room where you can meet him. So if you have any specific problem, you can just write him on email saying that you want to meet him, and you book an appointment. So it's very easy in there. I do that a lot of time. Yeah.
Okay, we hope that we answered your question, and please keep on typing your questions in the chat. Meanwhile, we're waiting for the next question. How is life in Örebro in Sweden, Noel?
Well, Orebro is one of the city of Sweden, and it's located between like two big cities, Stockholm, which is the capital of Sweden, and another big city which is called Gothenburg. In Swedish, it's called Göteborg. Hello?
Yeah, Göteborg.
And from Stockholm to Orebro, it's around 200 kilometers. Like also, it is 200 kilometers to go to Göteborg. So Orebro in general has been growing around the central, and in the center you have like a very nice building which is the castle, and you can see that in the central, the whole region of Orebro, it's like the central is where you can find that slotted. And as I was saying in the introduction program, you will go in there, and just they will show you that is slotted. The Castro, it's the Swedish version of Castro. And in the city, you have different activities, and you have like coffee shops, you have museum, you can participate in the theaters, and you also have like many night sports.
All right.
Mm.
Before we go to the next slide, we do have 3 questions to answer. One is that you would like to know more about the scholarships. Well, unfortunately, we can't cover this in any more details about the scholarships in this webinar. As we said in the beginning, the application window for applying to scholarships is closed. And now it's a matter of seeing who actually have gotten the scholarships, both from Örebro University and Swedish Institute. And we hope that if you have any specific questions regarding these scholarships, you contact the people that we had on the slide about scholarships. So with that, I hope that we have answered the question enough so that you know who to ask more specific questions about the scholarships to. And the next question is, what is the maximum number of courses a student offers for a semester? I think I'll leave that for Alexander.
Maximum now, I don't have the numbers for all of the different master's programs, but in general, a master's program has a set series of courses to get a master in that topic. So, for instance, the master's programs that I coordinate and I'm part of, the heaviest semester on number of courses, we have 3 courses, and then they do not overlap too much. The students, they finish one 3-point course, and then they move on to the 10-point course, and then they finish off the semester with the bigger course. So I'm not sure how to answer that, but I'm quite sure that there's not too many semesters having more than 3 or 4 courses in them. What do you think?
Course, I would say that it depends also on the course, because the semester has like 30 credits, and depending how big is the course or how is small the course, like you can have, for example, 2 courses within 2 semesters. If one course has like 15 credits, what I can say, it depends on the how big is the course.
Yeah.
For example, for me, the first semester had 3 courses. One with 15 credits, the next with 10 credits, and the last one with 5 credits. Yeah. It depends on the credits for the course.
Yeah. And also we have this slide with the contact information to the program coordinators. So if you want specifically how the program is set up, one specific program is set up, please contact the program coordinator for more information. And then we have one more question about sports. If there are any sports team that a master student can join. Jean-Noel, do you have any?
As you were saying, here there is a gym sport, and normally all sports, they are organized in the gym. So if you want to belong in one of the team you want to be, you can just go and contact the gym. And actually, there are so many kind. I would even say that's all kind of sports they are available. So just go and contact the gym. You can find a sport that's one to belong in.
Yeah, and also a lot of we like Örebro is a big sports city. There is a lot of different sports organization also outside campus that you can contact if you want to dance or if you want to do rugby. You know, we have it all. All right. So meanwhile, we're waiting for the next question. We will move on with the presentation and talk a little bit more about life in Sweden.
Now we are in Sweden. We have been moving from Orebro to Sweden. So Sweden is one of the countries of Europe and is the safest country in the world. That's why it's really a very nice country to live in. And it has been even linked as one of the best countries in Europe, even in the world. And the people in Sweden, of course, the local language is Swedish, but since the people or the population, they are obliged to learn also English, they are also communicate easily in English. So it's become very easy to talk with Swedish people in English. But of course, you have also to adapt and learn some few Swedish words like fika. So fika, as I'm saying, fika is one of the known word in Sweden. But what does mean fika basically? It's like you just like you sit around the table, you drink coffee, you take something to eat, like you see. You can also take a whole you talk, but basically this is the culture of Swedish people. You can find it wherever you go, either in the schools, the church, you find all the fika.
Good. All right. Before we go to the next slide, we'll try to answer a few more questions. Okay. So it says, after graduation from the master's program, can the student apply to the PhD program in the Örebro University? I'll leave that for Alexander.
The short answer is absolutely.
Okay. And then we have one asking about, do master students get the opportunity for internships and more training in their field of study? Alex?
Yeah, we have that. I did not mention, but this is a good opportunity to do that. That most of the teaching in the international master's programs is performed by researchers that are also teachers. So the programs are heavily embedded and intertwined with the research activity taking place at the specific research center. And that being said, if a student shows interest to have extracurricular activities in the lab or with the researchers at that institute, absolutely. And as we talked about before, the doors are always open. And if a student wants to gain more experience, go talk to your teacher, and maybe you can get involved in some of their projects and work with them. So we actually have quite a few students that do that. Do you have the same experience?
Yeah, for example, the project that I'm doing, I do it's a project of my teacher. You can have like the internship from the project of a teacher, like you can also do your thesis from your teacher. It's like just you can contact him about your interest, and if you want to conduct any kind of project, and knowing all teachers in the area that they are working in, you can go and contact them. So it's become very easy to get like a project and internship here at Orebro.
Good. All right. There are more questions here. If it's possible to attend to Swedish language lessons. And yeah, I think, Noel, how is it? What's the possibility?
For example, me, I'm learning Swedish, and if it's free of charge, but I'm not studying within the university because here it's like they have Swedish course for employees. For us as a student and all immigrant, so the Orebro city has organized a kind of course for just to help international people to just to adapt it to the society. So it's like we have the course is a Tuesday evening, so we have for each week you have one day for learning Swedish, and it's free of charge, of course.
Okay, good. So there are possibilities also downtown, and we're also looking into, because the exchange students here, they actually get Swedish lessons. So we're looking into if it's possible to extend that also to the master students. But we'll get back to you regarding that in May for those of you that will actually be accepted. And then next question is at the University of Örebro, do you adopt a specific teaching style? Alexander?
There are all of these master's programs, they are placed on different faculties. Some faculties, due to the topic of mathematics, for instance, they are more traditional in the teaching style. But it's always communication based, and I believe that all of the programs have a quite student-centered approach, meaning that the faculty, the teachers, they try to find out what the students need to reach the goals, and it's usually quite flexible. At the medical school, we adopt the PBL pedagogic approach. Some have a lot of that, some have a little bit of that, but it's all student-centered, that's for sure.
And the PBL is the problem learning based,
Mhm.
based in learning, based in
Yes.
learning.
Yeah.
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 Accommodation.
Okay, and then we have a question about accommodation. Do we have if everyone gets accommodation at the university? Well, if you don't have a Swedish personal identity number, we can help you with accommodation. If you apply for our help before May 15th. And what will be offered is like a standard corridor style living within either walking or biking distance. So if you're coming yourself or with your partner, of course you can stay in this room. If you're coming with a whole family, there are some limitations where we actually can't help if you're bringing a family of 8 people or something. But all that is actually you can read more about that on our website with a link that we actually included in the webinar. So look into specific questions about the accommodation on our website. Okay, and then we'll see if we scroll down here. Can we start our thesis projects in the first year of the 2-year programs? Well, before I hand over to Alex, I'll just want to say that not all the master programs here are actually 2 years. Some of them are actually 1-year programs. But if you maybe you want to answer if there are 2-year programs, how is it, Alex?
In a 2-year program, it's usually the last 45 credit points that is adopted to the project work. You can supervisor allowing start the work at the lab a little bit, but it would not be formally starting since we need to register. It's doing the project. It's also a course, and that course, of course, doesn't start to be registered until you reach that state. That being said, the previous question with internship and more experience, students do start in the labs the very first semester, and then this work may or may not end up being the base work of their coming project. So that, yeah.
Okay.
But what I can also depend on the program. There are some program of 2 years in which they have like 2 master theses with 15 credits. So they take one in the first year and the second to the second year, just 2 different projects, but in 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it might differ. So for like look into contacting the program coordinator for your specific program to get exactly the details what is valid for you. Then we have one more question here. If a student who is beneficiary of SIS, does he need to return to his home country before he can apply for PhD after his master? Is there any one of Alex and Noel that have the answer on that? Because I don't.
I'm quite sure you do not have to return to reapply for visa. You can apply for extended visa while being in Sweden. I know this is not the case in the US, for instance. If we compare to the US, you have to go back to your home country to reapply. But in Sweden, you can prolong an application while being in Sweden.
And what we could do is, together with the recorded webinar that we will send out, we can also add a link to where you can read more about this on the Migrationsverket, which is the authority that handles all these items. So we'll help you to find out the question on their webpage where you can read more about it.
Yeah, I'm also one of the students who hold that kind of scholarship. And what I know right now is that at the end of my second year, I will get like 6 months of extension just to to try to find a job. So after 6 months, if you don't get job, maybe you can be contacting for the immigration, but you don't go directly to your home country.
Okay, good. And next question is, does the university partners with any university around the world for specific programs? Yeah, I think it differs from different programs. So it depends on which program you are actually will attend or be admitted to. So I think I'll leave that question unanswered right here, and contact your program coordinator to get the correct answer for you. Meanwhile, we're waiting for next question. We'll round up this webinar and just go through what happens next. And as we said, we cross our fingers that all of you actually will have a positive notification of selection result April 6th. For those of you that will come to Örebro, we will distribute a digital student handbook in April, so that you get to know all you need to know, basically, is in that survival handbook. In the end of April, there will be invoices for those of you that are required to pay tuition fees. And mid of May, you will be invited to join another webinar where we go more in detail about what happens next and how we can welcome you and what you can expect. In the end of August, the introduction program starts to get you the best kickstart in your life in Sweden here. And September 3rd, the semester starts, and you'll meet, for example, Alexander. Okay. Do we have any? No, we're waiting for more questions. So please, we'll leave a few seconds here so that you can type if you have any more questions. Anything that we haven't covered, write it down. And also, if you have questions later on, please don't hesitate to contact us, either the program coordinators, the free mover address for specific questions about admission, the scholarship address, or the program coordinators. So you have a lot of different contacts where we can further guide you. We do have one question here about if we can work during our study in the Orebro University, for example, as a research assistant in a research center related to the Örebro University. Maybe both of you know a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I can start with saying you can do this. You don't even have to work at the university. You can work out in the rest of society. However, most of these master's programs are designed to be on 100% workload. So we have had students that have done this, but of course you need to balance the amount of time you do for work, so it doesn't spill over into your abilities to study hard.
Noel?
Yeah. For me, it's become easy to get job maybe during the summer. Otherwise, while studying, it's not easy, since you have to adapt it. You are studying for different other students, so you can't. It's not easy to combine both working and studying. But I'm telling you the truth that you can get like a job during the summer. For example, me, I've been working with one of my teachers, and I was working like research assistant. I was working like in the lab, like data processing. But of course, it depends on how you have been in contact with your teachers. But it's possible.
And there's someone typing more questions. Meanwhile, we're waiting for that. I'll just round up and teach you a few more lines in Swedish. That means tack för ditt deltagande. Vi hoppas se dig i Örebro, which means thank you for your participation. We hope to see you in Örebro, which is something you can practice on if you want to learn. And with that, we're also asked if there are 3 breaks in between for the whole duration of the master's program. Is it?
Breaks, if you mean breaks between semesters, yes, there are. There's a winter break and a little bit longer summer break.
Mhm.
Any other breaks?
And the Christmas.
Yeah, the Christmas
Yeah.
is,
Christmas.
but the Christmas is not really a break, but a lot of people, because there might be exams.
And not during those
the Christmas
10 or
10, 15 days.
10, 15 days.
Yeah.
We usually don't schedule that.
No.
Right before and right after there are exams,
Mm.
and then the summer break is 8 weeks.
June to August mainly.
Yeah.
Mid-August.
Yeah, 2 months and a half.
Yeah. Okay. There is one person typing here. Meanwhile, we'll let you type your question. I can also tell you what is written behind our backs, which says utbildning som förändrar, which if I translate it, it means education that it can change. It can change you. It can change your life. It can change the society. It can change the world. So that is a little bit what we stand for, that we actually make change positive in a positive way. Where there is, okay, Terry, you asked, so during the long break, can a student find work to do?
Absolutely.
You have answered it to that question. And I got a job during that time. Yeah.
So it is possible. Of course, it's up to you and to find to be active. So it's nothing that we offer by as a standard, but there are possibilities. And then we have a question about if you have online portals that students can contact lecturers without meeting them in face to face.
Yeah, we actually use a platform called Blackboard. You may or may not be familiar with this, but it's a platform where we have all the study guides, the schedules, and there's also interaction possibilities, mail versions, chat versions, group discussion functions. So it's a great pedagogic platform called Blackboard, and that's our main platform.
All right. It seems like you don't have any more questions right now, but please don't hesitate to contact us over mail if you want to ask any more specific questions. And we got a lot of thank you in the chat, but we want to thank you for attending, and we're really hoping to see you in Örebro in a few months. So with that, we'll wrap this up, and thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye. See you in the fall.
Hello.